Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Presented by Medford BMW on 96.1 580 The Game.
Tuesday, that means I'm back. I got 2 hours with you. Hey, everybody, Matt Bagley, live on the radio, 96.1, 580 The Game. This is Southern Oregon Sports Talk. And if you're a regular on Tuesdays, you know where I'm going. If you're not, I got to introduce this. I have a bunch of guests tonight. I have a bunch of topics tonight. College football, NFL, NBA, everything in between, lots of local sports. And I start every Tuesday with this man on the phone line. Kevin Primerano. He's the executive director of the Rogue Valley Timbers. We're going to talk soccer, and we're going to tie that into the big picture about coaching, about development, and players growing up and excelling. And right now, talk about state playoffs with what North Medford did Friday night on the football field. Well, let's talk state playoffs from a soccer perspective. Kevin is watching a soccer playoff game right now. Kevin, where are you, man?
Hey, Matt, I'm down at U.S. Cellular Park watching the St. Mary's girls take on Oregon Episcopal.
Now, I love that matchup, and if anybody knows the local soccer scene, they know that is like North Carolina and Gonzaga dueling in the Final Four. Those are some blue bloods. Let's talk about this program that you have at Rogue Valley Timbers, Kevin, because I think there's a lot of players on the pitch today that have benefited from what you've coached and taught. How many St. Mary's players do you think have gone through Rogue Valley Timbers?
Oh, boy, over the time that I've been here, I can't even imagine. I just know, I just looked at their roster, and I've got probably 15 players on their roster.
Wow. That's amazing.
Through our program or are even currently still involved.
That's amazing to me. And we've talked before about how the club scene and the high school scene or the high school regimen really mesh well. Like you've been kind of relaxed for the last couple months, is that right?
I don't know that I've been relaxed. I haven't been doing much in the high school realm, but in this role there's never much time to relax.
Yeah. He's Kevin Primerano, executive director of the Rogue Valley Timbers. What do you like about this St. Mary's team, Kevin?
You know, I think it's been kind of interesting. I've had a chance to watch them play a few times this year, and they were a powerhouse last year. I would have put them up against any 6A team in the state and think they would have held their own. So it's been kind of neat to watch some of the younger players have to step up and find an identity and take on a leadership role that perhaps they didn't have before because they sat in the background of 5 very talented seniors.
Right.
And they've been incredibly resourceful and gritty, and they play very smart. So they've been very fun to watch.
Yeah, and you were telling me as we were getting into this off air, match just started here in Medford. Right now, 1-0 to Oregon Episcopal. So OES has the lead, but it's close. And I'm rooting for St. Mary's to tie it up and make a game of it, Kevin. Let's talk about your program, Rogue Valley Timbers. You have Winter Skills Camp coming up. Tell me about it.
Yeah, our Winter Skills Camp we started 6 or 7 years ago. There was a demand from some of our players to keep going and training, so we get some of our best coaches here in the club and from throughout the valley, and we work strictly on individual technical skills over 9 sessions.
Wow. Yeah. So, in my brain, I want to ask you about things you'd prioritize, but key word being individual. It seems like it's really fine tuned to each player.
Yeah, I mean, piece number one and the most important thing in the game is being comfortable on the ball, how you receive the ball, how you trap the ball with all surfaces of your body, how you change direction and create angles and so all those things, and then dribbling and being comfortable taking players on 1v1, and that's really the emphasis of our program amongst younger players in general, and so that's really what we emphasize in this camp.
Have the things you've emphasized, have they changed over the years, Kevin? Have you seen a different kind of athlete evolve onto the scene, or is it generally the same issues across the board?
You know, I'd like to think that our players have gotten better, but I think whenever you're looking at any level, I mean, those are the things. I think the games evolve, the sport evolves, the tactics evolve, but the fundamentals are still the same. You still have to handle the ball with all surfaces of your body. You still have to be able to dribble. You still have to be comfortable taking players on. You know, so I think those are things that are going to transcend time.
He's Kevin Primerano from the Rogue Valley Timbers, talking Timbers, talking his organization and his players thriving right now. A bunch of them playing for St. Mary's this fall and playing in the state semifinal today. Kevin Primerano watching that action. I'm grateful for the time that he gives us. Winter Skills Camp, Kevin, that's coming up quick, right?
Yeah, our registration deadline's tomorrow for that camp.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, and it starts on Monday, so... You know, we still have a few spots left, so if you want to register, just get on to rvsoccer.com, and you know, we'd love to have your kids.
And that's not the only thing you guys have going on. I was doing some reading. I like to check your website, check Facebook for questions beforehand, and I noticed you have high school tryouts coming up. What do you mean by that?
Yep. Well, we'll have our tryouts for our high school club teams coming up here on this Sunday. From 2 to 4 for players born in 2004 and 2005. And then on Tuesday, we have it on Tuesday night from 6 to 8 for players born between 2001 and 2003.
Okay.
This is the time of year where we try to put together our best teams, our most competitive teams at the older age groups, and we work with them on the college recruiting process and try to make sure that we put the players in position to be successful.
When does that process start, Kevin?
Ideally, depending on your gender, ideally, if you're a female soccer player and you want to play at a high level, that process needs to start your freshman year. For players that are looking to play on the D2 or D3 level, it can start a little bit later. And then for guys, sophomore year, they really need to start making contacts. So it starts a lot younger than we'd like to see it start, but it starts.
It's amazing to me. Like every sport, to me, baseball is the best example, where if you told me that freshmen in high school are getting recruited to play college baseball, I wouldn't believe you, but it happens. And then you have the opposite extreme in football, where the coaches might give you a scholarship, but you're not really locked into that until the end of your senior year. It floors me that soccer players are being looked at that early, but they are.
I mean, some of the top female programs are out looking at 8th graders. That's a little scary.
Wow.
It's similar to football. You can't, nothing's official till you sign your letter of intent. You can't do that at the earliest now at the Division I level until November of your senior year.
Right.
Obviously, once you sign that letter, then it's locked in.
He's Kevin Primerano from the Rogue Valley Timbers, helping young student athletes apply the passion for the game of soccer. I told you I always like reading your Facebook and your Twitter, Rogue Valley Soccer Club and Rogue Valley Timbers Soccer Club, rvsoccer.com, the website. I noticed your players were having some fun on Halloween. Saw some teams practicing in costume. That seemed pretty neat to me. Was that a one-off thing, or do you have a lot of teams and a lot of players doing that?
I think we only had a handful of teams out here the night before Halloween. And, one of the things that we preach here with our coaches is, we need to remember that these are still kids. And our coaches do a great job of having a good perspective, throwing some fun into the training sessions, recognizing, that not every training session has to be just fully brutal and enjoying. And we do a lot of the same stuff at Winter Skills Camp. One of the days we have a crazy sock day, we have a favorite jersey day, we have pajama day, we have costume day. So, we try to keep it light, we try to keep it fun. We believe that that's the way that our kids are going to remain engaged.
Did you have a costume, Kevin?
I dressed up as a soccer coach.
Good answer. I do the same thing, man. People ask me, hey, because we have a bunch of DJs for the music stations. They ask me to dress up, and I told them I was a radio guy.
Yeah. Actually, if I remember correctly, I think I wore my son's Chucky wig.
Well, that works.
At least I was a little bit festive.
Hey, the Raider fan in me thinks that's a good costume there. Kevin Primerano, Rogue Valley Timbers Executive Director, my guest. Wrapping up with you, Kevin. Winter Skills Camp sign-ups are tomorrow, right? You learn more, rvsoccer.com. And high school tryouts coming on as well, right around the corner this weekend. rvsoccer.com for more. Anything else you want to hit on, Kevin?
No, I think that it's a great time of year. We have some great weather, so anybody that's interested in improving their game, and you don't have to be part of the Rogue Valley Timbers to come to the skills camp. Anybody born between 2005 and 2011 is welcome to sign up as long as they want to work hard. We hope to see a ton of high school soccer players out there for our winter tryouts. We're going to have some great stuff in store this year.
Well, that fires me up. Kevin Primerano, he's watching high school soccer in the state playoffs right now, and he just invited all the local high school soccer players, come out, Winter Skills Camp, sign up. You can learn more about signing up and what that'll all entail at rvsoccer.com. Kevin, as always, I love having you on, man, and I hope you get a good game this afternoon.
It's looking good so far. It's been back and forth other than that one goal, so, hopefully our kids can pull through.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, thanks so much.
Yeah, Kevin, thank you. Rooting for St. Mary's in the semifinals of the state playoffs. They trail Oregon Episcopal 1-0. I know firsthand that's a really, really good opponent, Oregon Episcopal. Got to watch them, I think 5 years ago now, up in Hillsboro for the state championships, back when I was working for another station. Got a lot on the plate tonight. We just had Kevin Primerano from the Rogue Valley Timbers. Oregon State, I want to talk about what happened to the Beavs on Friday night. Also got a hit on what happened in local sports Friday night. Huge win for Crater. They're in the second round of the state playoffs. Huge win for Ashland. They were in the cellar last year. Now they're in the second round of the playoffs. Cascade Christian, they got a big rematch coming up. I got to get Jim McCoy on the airwaves this week. And I'm efforting Owen Quilty, our North Medford play-by-play guy last week. Owen has done home football games for us this fall on the radio. And last Friday, he had North Medford football versus Reynolds, first round of the state playoffs. That game was incredible. You read about it in the paper. I know you did. You watched the highlights on TV. I know you did. This was huge for the Black Tornado. 55 points. They win in overtime, 55-49. They are in the second round of the playoffs. We're going to air it right here on the game next Friday, second round of the playoffs against Tualatin. And I want to preview that game. So I'm efforting Owen Quilty. We're going to try to get Owen. I have North Medford assistant coach Jim Bosworth coming up at 5. We're going to talk all things Black Tornado football. And then also going to talk some hardwood, college basketball. Oregon, Memphis tonight. Oregon State, Oklahoma tonight. Talking about it with Arden Cravalho from the Bay Area. Really fun guest. He writes at Addicted to Quack. I've never had him on, but I talked to him on social media. Smart dude. I read his writing. Smart dude. He's going to talk hoops with me at 4:30. Looking forward to that. Up ahead, I want to talk about history. I think we saw it made in the NFL. I think we saw it made in college basketball. And I think that one of our favorite college football teams is troubled by it. Talking history next on Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW on 96.1 580 The Game.
Interstate Batteries, the most trusted battery since 1952. Hello, everyone. This is David, the manager from Interstate Batteries in Central Point. Summer is starting, and lake, camping, and traveling is now in effect. I wanted to let you all know that we do free installs on most cars, trucks, SUVs, along with boats, trailers, and motorhomes. We also do free battery checks. Come down and one of my knowledgeable service techs will meet you at your vehicle to test your battery. We check and sell all kinds of batteries. Interstate Batteries is the one store for all your battery needs. From AAA to cell phone, garage doors, and even rechargeable batteries. We carry multiple lines starting from $45. We have 2 locations, one in Central Point on Highway 99 and our other location in Grants Pass at 116 Southwest M Street across from 7-Eleven, right next door to the Solar Man. Come down to either location and get your fast, free battery test. Interstate Batteries, the one store for all your battery needs. Locally owned and operated.
I'm Kira.
And I'm Melissa with the Marine Corps Reserve Jackson County Toys for Tots program.
Join us Tuesday, December 3rd for our Giving Tuesday kickoff event at Weidmar on Biddle Road.
We will be accepting monetary donations and unwrapped toy donations from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Help us stuff the truck, courtesy of Crater Lake Ford.
100% of all toys and funds collected will stay in our local community for less fortunate kids.
If you can't make it by on Tuesday, Medford Bi-Mart will be collecting toy donations until December 12th and monetary donations until December 24th at Medford Bi-Mart. We'll see you Tuesday, December 3rd at the Medford Bi-Mart from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
For a list of local toy drop-off boxes, log on to JacksonCountyToysForTots.org.
Sponsored by Crater Lake Ford, Lincoln, Mazda, and Stevens Media Group.
Toys for Tots, no child in Jackson County will go without a Christmas.
Beat the holiday rush at Sportsman's Warehouse during the pre-Black Friday sale. For a limited time, take up to $100 off Traeger Wi-Fi or grills. Save $90 on the Smith & Wesson EZ kit and get a free Vortex red dot sight with purchase of a Springfield XDM. Whether it's hunting, shooting, fishing, or camping, our expert staff will help you find the perfect gift to make their next outdoor experience unforgettable. Save now during the Sportsman's Warehouse pre-Black Friday sale. Sportsman's Warehouse. Gear up for unforgettable.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1 580 The Game.
2 full hours of live radio tonight as my phone starts blowing up. It's funny. I have nights where I really, I get here at 4 o'clock and there's no distractions and I'm just in a grind and I have a routine. I've joked about it before. I do my 15-minute segment, sign off, tease the next segment, go to the break, and then I walk from one end of our building to the other. I load a mug with cold water, I sip it, I load it again, and then I walk back to our studio, and I get back, 3-minute break is over, and I sit back at this desk, and I take a deep breath, and then I deliver the next segment. 15 minutes, start all over again. No distractions, in a rhythm, in the zone. Not so much tonight. It's just been herky-jerky. 15 minutes of prep, something distracts me. 15 minutes of show, my phone starts blowing up with text messages. I'm going to try to work through that tonight. Arden Cravalho from the Bay Area. He's a producer at 95.7 The Game in San Francisco. Also writes for The Slipper Still Fits. That's a Gonzaga blog. And he writes at Addicted to Quack as well. Duck's site, Talking College Hoops. He's going to join me at 4:30. Jim Bosworth, North Medford assistant, talking high school football. He's going to join me at 5. And I'm efforting our North Medford play-by-play guy. He covered the North Medford first-round playoff game last week, Owen Quilty. We might end up getting Owen tomorrow. My plan for high school football this week, we're airing high school football Friday night, North Medford at Tualatin. I'm going to be there. I might, if timing works out, I might do a live show from the press box at Tualatin. I'm hopeful for that. I'm really optimistic that I can do that. What I want to do leading up to that, just in case I don't have a 2-hour Black Tornado football heavy pregame live from the press box of Tualatin High School Friday night, is I want to get a North Medford guest on every night this week. Now, you might roll your eyes. I know Eagle Point fan, Crater fan, Ashland fan, they roll their eyes. They go, Matt never talks about us. Not true. You can ask my local guests. Ask Brian Schnee, ask Chris Henry, ask all the heavy hitters, Ben Mackey from the Daily Courier, my friends at the station that have been on this show all the time, Jim McCoy talking high school football. I talk about everybody. But I just love this story at North Medford. I think this story is special. I believe when that program is good, it's like Notre Dame football, but on a local scale. It's like when the Yankees are good at baseball, but on a local scale. It's like when the Cowboys or the Raiders or the Niners are good on a local scale. It is a team that is relevant for everyone in the Valley. Everyone in the Valley knows what North Medford was, what Medford High was, what Black Tornado football used to be. And when they show glimpses that they are back, that's a big deal to me. And they showed a big glimpse Friday night. That team is back. 55 points, overtime win. I want to talk about it. Jim Bosworth, he's going to help me talk about it at 5. A couple minutes away from Arden, Cravalho, talking hoops. Big story there is the kid at Memphis. Probably a lottery pick next year, maybe the number 1 pick in the draft. And the NCAA says you can't play. You're ineligible. Why? Because when he was 7 years old, his future coach at Memphis, who was not the coach of Memphis at the time, paid for his family to move to the Memphis area. Now, again, if the kid is 17, that makes sense to me. That should be ineligible. You can't buy Reggie Bush a Hummer. You can't give mom and dad a job. You can't help move the family when the kid is in high school. That's fishy to me. But when the kid is 7 years old, do you know that he's going to play college basketball at 7? Do you know that he's going to play basketball at all at 7? He's 7 years old. I thought I was going to be an astronaut when I was 7 years old. How does the NCAA know this kid's going to play college basketball? That's a terrible rule. And Memphis, to their credit, have just ignored it. They've just assumed the NCAA will take them to court, or they'll have to take the NCAA to court. They'll fight this somehow. That kid's going to play tonight. Memphis, Oregon. All thanks to Phil Knight. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes with Arden Cravalho. Memphis, Oregon, big game in Portland at Moda Center. 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip over on News Media 880. If I'm Memphis, I've already flipped off the NCAA with this ruling. I think this is the tip of the iceberg. We're going to see college basketball programs, and we're going to see college sports in general just ignore the NCAA. This is the next step. At first, it was the state of California saying, we don't like this college structure. We're going to work around it. We're going to let our colleges pay players and provide players with likenesses. Now, Cal and USC and UCLA, they all said, yeah, we don't want anything to do with that. We still want to operate in the structure of the NCAA. But this is the next step. Memphis is saying, we don't like the NCAA. Screw the NCAA. We're not going to work with them. If Tennessee comes out and adopts what California does, all hell's going to break loose. You have a school like Memphis that'll say, we're already on bad terms with the NCAA. Come on in. Let's pay players. And then it's all going to unravel. I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. Where do you stand on this Memphis situation? I'm guessing there's a lot of Duck fans that are torn. On one hand, you want to win this game. You want anything that weakens Memphis so the Ducks win this game, so the Ducks pad a tournament resume. But on the other hand, I think this is better for basketball if the kid plays. I'm tired of the NCAA. I want to live in a world, a future of college sports where the NCAA is irrelevant, where colleges get to pay players, where colleges get to make things free for players and relaxed for players. And if you're earning millions of dollars and you're good enough, like a Zion Williamson, to where people want to wear your shoes and they want to wear your jersey and they want signed autographs and pictures, autographed posters of you, Zion Williamson and players like him, players as gifted as him, those guys should be getting the credit for that, not the schools. Great example. Sabrina Ionescu railed about this the other day on social media. She is a historic women's basketball player, and I really want to talk about the history they made this weekend. I'll do that tonight on the show. Sabrina is a historic player. I think the most dominant women's basketball player of her era, and thousands of Duck fans want to buy Sabrina Ionescu women's basketball jerseys. Nike doesn't sell them. Nike doesn't sell them. I can't wait for a future where schools can have their own deals, have their freedom for this, and a world where players, they get a piece of that pie. Because right now, even if Nike sells it, Sabrina's not getting a chunk of that. Ruthie Hebert's not getting a chunk of that. Satu Sabali doesn't see a slice of that money. But in the future, they will. And I think this Memphis NCAA feud is one step towards that future. Let's talk about that next. Talk about the game tonight. College basketball's back, and it's big. Oregon, Memphis, and Portland tonight. Let's break that down with Addicted to Quack's Arden Cravalho next on Southern Oregon Sports Talk. Presented by Medford BMW on 96.1 580 The Game.
I'm visiting a project being built by one of the many builders that Knife River Materials supports with quality products and services. It's great to see local building activity picking up. It's also fun to see how the builders are using colored concrete. Now, because this is radio, you really can't appreciate the beauty of the colored concrete driveway I'm standing on. It looks great. If you're thinking of using colored concrete, you can't beat the quality and consistency of Knife River's liquid color process. Give Knife River Materials a call today. Call them at 770-2960. That's 770-2960. Remember, no one can match Knife River Materials' heritage of service to Southern Oregon. If it comes from Knife River, you know it's the best.
Northwest Community Credit Union is paying off credit card balances for our members. Each month, 2 lucky NWCU Visa cardholders will have their balance paid in full up to $5,000. It's easy to enter. Every transaction is an entry and balance transfers are 2 entries. Learn more at any Northwest Community Credit Union branch or visit nwcu.com. Hurry, this special program ends December 31st. Conditions and restrictions apply. Complete program details at 1-800-452-9515.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi. I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
Well, before I left my campsite, I was putting out my fire, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear showed up and hugged me?
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. He likes it when people correctly put out their campfires. He's pretty big on wildfire prevention. He's just letting you know you did good. With a hug. He's a hugger.
I just got a bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
All right, I'm going to let you go now. I've got a lot of ranger stuff to do. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Imagine if I told you that an earthquake was going to hit tomorrow right where you live. 6.5 in magnitude with aftershocks occurring twice 25 minutes apart. You'd no doubt talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you an earthquake will happen tomorrow. But what if it does? Shouldn't you have a plan? Visit Oregon.gov/OMD/OEM and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by the Oregon Office of Emergency Management, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1 580 The Game.
Hi, everybody. Matt Bagley back with you. Southern Oregon Sports Talk presented by Medford BMW right here, 96.1 580 The Game. I teased my guest on the phone line right now. End of the last segment, I said, this guy knows basketball. He's got a passion for it, writes at multiple sites, covering Gonzaga for Slipper Still Fits, covering Oregon for SB Nation's Addicted to Quack, and talking hoops and working about sports in the Bay Area with a station that I listen to. I'm a Raider fan. They used to carry Raider games there. 95.7 The Game in the Bay Area. He's Arden Cravalho. Arden, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. Excited for tonight's matchup. I mean, can we give thanks to Uncle Phil, a.k.a. the swoosh legends, the god of Nike, for bringing Memphis and Oregon together tonight? I mean, you can't ask for a better game.
Right. You can't ask for a better game. I think the big thing there, the last time an Oregon team played at Moda was women's basketball in the Elite Eight, and that's maybe the coolest crowd I've ever seen at a basketball game. I hope people show up tonight. I know it's early. Have you ever been the kind of person that, like, I know a lot of college basketball fans are this way. They're waiting for conference play, or they're waiting for March. Do you wait for March, or are you fired up right now?
Absolutely not. I'm ready to go in October.
That's amazing.
Always ready to talk some basketball and watch some hoops, whether it's, West Coast basketball, which I prefer to watch, as a Gonzaga graduate and an Oregon fan. But any sort of college basketball at mid-major level, I'll get my hands on it and enjoy the game.
Right. He writes at Addicted to Quack. Arden, let's talk about this matchup tonight. You just said, hey, thanks to Uncle Phil, the god of Oregon sports and the god of Nike. Ducks hosting Memphis in Portland. What do you like about this Memphis team?
Well, of course, you know all about James Wiseman. He's been in the news recently about being deemed ineligible by the NCAA for something that happened all the way back in high school. I don't want to go too deep into that, but he will be playing tonight, according to John Rothstein of Fox Sports. So that was good news for the Memphis Tigers. Other than that, they have a bunch of rookies on this team, or should I say freshmen, that are top-notch. Penny Hardaway, who's the coach, second-year coach of the Memphis Tigers, actually has 6 players that were in the top 100 in the ESPN 100. James Wiseman, Precious Achiuwa, Boogie Ellis, who actually decommitted from Duke to join Penny Hardaway and the Tigers, DJ Jeffries and Lester Quinones, as well as Malcolm Dangridge. So this team is stacked with young talent. They're going to move up and down on the floor. I'm excited to watch this game.
Arden Cravalho, my guest. He writes at Addicted to Quack. Also, he mentioned he's a Gonzaga grad, Gonzaga fan, writes about the Zags at Slipper Still Fits. Arden, now, when I think Memphis, I'm a big John Calipari guy. I'm a big X's and O's guy for basketball. I think about the dribble drive and what Cal was running. How does this Memphis team compare to those Memphis teams?
It's similar in a way, but I think for this team, it's a little bit different because the offense runs completely through James Wiseman. I mean, he has to touch the ball at least once on every possession, and if it doesn't, it's kind of a waste of possession for the Tigers. And the way they do that is, I noticed it during the game against South Carolina State, the first game of the season for the Tigers. Boogie Ellis would be dribbling it around and passing it around on the wings, and then they would have a back door or a back screen for James Wiseman and throw an alley-oop up to him. That's usually how their offense runs. It has to be touching James Wiseman at all times.
And then let's flip over to the Ducks. You got Dana Altman. Now, I love Dana, but even when the Ducks win, he sounds like somebody peed in his cornflakes. He's just kind of grumpy in the post-game pressers and talking with the media. You think he's got a lot of reasons to be grumpy about this team? Are they good this year, Arden?
Oh, they're the real deal for sure. I would actually make the argument that this team is better than last year's team that made that Sweet 16 run. They are a lot younger compared to last year's team, which could be a hard thing to get over, especially against these big teams like Memphis. But I think they are the real deal. I mean, Chris Duarte, Peyton Pritchard, and Anthony Mathis in the backcourt, those guys, I really think one of those three guys is going to get a triple-double this season. I mean, all around. They have a great all-around game. It's going to be really tough to slow down the backcourt for the Oregon Ducks if you're the Memphis Tigers.
Yeah, you mentioned Pritchard. I've read a couple people suggest he might be Pac-12 Player of the Year. Do you buy that?
I don't buy it, honestly, because there's a lot of other freshman talent, especially up in Seattle with Jaden McDaniels. I think he's the front runner for the Pac-12 Player of the Year. But, I mean, Peyton Pritchard, he's definitely a first-team all-leaguer for the Pac-12, and he's without a doubt the top point guard in the Pac-12.
Wow. Oregon-Memphis tonight, pregame 5:30 over on News Media 99.5 FM, 880 AM, KCMX, our Ducks affiliate, our sister station here in the building, and tip-off at 6. How do you see that game shaking out, Arden?
I wrote an article for Talking Tall First. That's our series that we do for Addicted to Quack, and I gave my prediction. I said that the Memphis Tigers are going to win 73-71, but it's going to come down to the last possession, and whoever has that last possession is going to win this game. So that's really the key right there. But Wiseman's just going to be too much. You know, we heard the recent news about Francis Okoro, who got hit by a car last week. He didn't play in the last game, and it doesn't seem like he will play tonight. He is a game-time decision. We'll see. But if they don't have him in there, it's going to be really hard to slow down James Wiseman on the block. So that's why I give the edge to the Memphis Tigers, 73-71.
Got a couple more minutes with you, Arden. Want to just have some fun? Pick your brain, because you're a guy that I've never had on the show before, but we talk on Twitter. I read your stuff, love your work. How'd you get started in sports?
You know, I got started back in high school. I worked for this KCA radio as a high school station in Menlo Atherton, California. And I just started, you know, going to high school basketball and football games, helping around with all the studio equipment and all at the games. And I got into actually doing play-by-play with them, doing basketball and football play-by-play. So that's where the dream really started for me. I went to Gonzaga University, as I said, and did a little sports broadcasting up there. Did some work for their television program with them. And, ever since then, I've fell in love with sports. I'm right now working as a producer for 95.7 The Game in San Francisco. So that's the dream for me, and it's always been that way.
Yeah, so play-by-play, huh? You still do play-by-play?
Yeah. You know, I haven't had much of a chance to do it, but I am working with the Get Sports Focus here in the Bay Area. I do a little post-game wrap-up with the players at high school football and basketball games. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm looking for a play-by-play gig, and hopefully that'll come my way sometime.
That's rad, man. Hey, let us in on Big City Radio, because those who might not know, 95.7 The Game, that's like one of the most prestigious stations in the country. A lot of Hall of Famers going through that building. What's that like for you?
It's a lot of fun. I meet a lot of cool people. A couple weeks ago, I think it was a few weeks ago when we had the Monday night games for the San Francisco 49ers playing the Cleveland Browns, we got a chance to get Michael Irvin on the show as well as Jerry Rice, the GOAT. So I got a chance to pick their brain, talk to them before they went on air. Anytime I get to talk to one of those types of players, one of the greatest of all times, it's pretty interesting to see how they live their lives now after playing a 20-year career for each of them. So it's great working for 95.7. I can't say anything better for them.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. Just learning how, because you always picture, like as a kid, I was a diehard Raider fan. And I grew up idolizing guys like Tim Brown. And you believe that Tim Brown has this air of he's not normal and he's not human and he's some alien figure. And then you get to interview Tim Brown, or you listen to Tim Brown in an interview, and you realize he's a pretty normal dude.
They're just like us, Matt.
Right. That's the most amazing thing. Arden Cravalho, my guest. Arden, You write at Addicted to Quack. You cover the Ducks. You got this piece tonight breaking down Oregon, Memphis. Let's wrap up on this note. What do you want to write about the Ducks this year? What's one story that you hope you get to break down on this team?
That's a great question, Matt. Honestly, I want to see if this team can get past that Sweet 16 where they ended up last year and get into the Elite Eight and possibly a Final Four. Who knows? This team really has the talent to do it. I mean, up and down, they have that 9-man rotation going with Dana Altman, and they seem like the type that could actually make a deep run into March Madness. So that's what I really hope to always happen for this team, get a deep run into March Madness and shock a few fans across the college basketball world.
All right. Arden, thanks for your time, man. Really appreciate your help, and go Ducks.
Yep, go Ducks. Thanks, Matt.
All right. He writes at Addicted to Quack. Check that out. One of my favorite sites. Of course, I know I have people listening that are tied into Adam Chimeo, who is the publisher of that site, addictedtoquack.com. Wrapping up hour one next, I want to look at history. I teased this earlier. I think one team made it. I think one team is tortured by it. I'll tell you who those teams are next on Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW on 96.1 580 The Game.
Well, you know, it's Orley Stove and Spas we both recommend. Now I told you where, let us tell you why. You ought to stop and see our friend.
Fall has arrived, and forecasters say it looks like an extra cold and wet winter this year. Now's the time to get into Orley's and beat the winter rush. Come in and see the newest models of hybrid wood stoves. Check out the new Low-Pi Rockport's revolutionary patented Green Start ignition option, only for Low-Pi wood-burning stoves and inserts. Starting a fire in your wood stove can now be as simple as pushing a button. Come in and discover the warmth and charm of the new Low-Pi line. Looking for gas? Low-Pi and Fireplace Extraordinaire have you covered. Gas models that heat up to 3,000 square feet. Whether you need a freestanding wood, gas, or pellet stove, a fireplace, or an insert, stay warm and comfortable this winter without those high heating bills. Orley's has over 80 models of stoves, inserts, and fireplaces on display at the corner of Delta Waters and Crater Lake Highway. Stop in and save. Receive a free ton of pellets with the purchase of any new Low-Pi pellet stove. Offer ends November 30th.
Every year, millions of Americans are exposed to a contagious virus.
It's not a disease.
But it's toxic.
It's not genetic.
But we're all at risk.
You can contract it from a stranger or a friend.
You can catch it at the movies.
Or by listening to a song.
And if you spent even a minute on the internet,
you've definitely been exposed.
What is this virus? It's stigma.
Stigma.
It's stigma.
Stigma may not directly affect you,
but it harms the 1 in 5 Americans living with mental health conditions.
Stigma promotes an environment of shame,
fear, and silence,
which prevents millions of people from seeking help.
Stigma isn't just harmful. You also risk coming across as a real jerk.
But there's good news.
The National Alliance on Mental Illness believes stigma towards mental illness is 100% curable.
And it's pretty easy to find out if you have it.
So do yourself and everyone a favor.
Go to curestigma.org and get tested for stigma.
Make it a great day with DA.
I think this thing could get real ugly in Pittsburgh. Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell's gone. Somehow it's still a circus in Pittsburgh. And I know that losing takes its toll, and now you're down to perhaps your third-string quarterback, which is just gruesome. I worry that Mike Tomlin is not going to be able to hold it together, and this thing is going to get real sideways real quick, as though it isn't already in Pittsburgh.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9 on 96.1 580 The Game.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14,
41, 31, 13. We
took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted.
I
realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1 580 The Game.
Wrapping up hour one, Southern Oregon Sports Talk. I've got Jim Bosworth on the other side, 5 o'clock. He's an assistant coach for North Medford Black Tornado football. I want a North Medford guest talking high school football every night this week. That's my goal. It starts tonight. Jim Bosworth, 5 o'clock, looking at what I think is the most compelling story to come out of the state football playoffs. And I want to talk about history right now as we wrap up hour one. Want to look at what the Oregon ladies did to Team USA, because I think that story, first of all, was unbelievable. You can't write a book about it. You can't write a movie about it. You can't film a movie about it. You can't write the script for the movie about it. You can't tell anybody about it. They won't believe you. Oregon beat Team USA. And I want to spend a minute on this, and then we'll move on to the just released college football playoff bracket. Oregon is the best college team in the country, and they just beat the best professional team in the world. No, Team USA is not a WNBA team. No, Team USA doesn't have a payroll like a WNBA team. They don't draft players like a WNBA team, but they are the best collection of pro players from across the world in the world. They are the best pro team on the planet. And they just lost to the Ducks. So what does that tell you about Oregon? If they beat the best pro team in the world, what are they going to do to the best college teams? When 1% or 2% of college players make it into the WNBA and great college players struggle in the WNBA, and the Ducks just beat a collection of the best players in the WNBA, watch out for Oregon. I don't think they lose a game. I think they terrorize women's basketball this year. Run the gauntlet, win the Pac-12, 1 seed in the tournament, stomp everybody in the big dance, and take home the trophy. You pencil them in right now. To me, Oregon is your national champion. It's over. History on Saturday. And a glimpse of our future along with it. I can't believe they beat Team USA. I think that's incredible. I want to hear from you. Where does that moment rank? Because honestly, you might not have known about it. You might not have heard about it. I think if you did, it stunned you. I think if you read this in the paper, or you saw the headline on TV, or you saw the scroll on SportsCenter, or you heard about it from a buddy, it's one of those moments you'll remember where you were, because it's unbelievable to me. 541-630-4792. Where does that win rank for you? Where do you put that? Do you value that? Are you like me? Are you willing to say, since Oregon just beat Team USA, they will go unbeaten and win the national title? Is that crazy? Do you buy into that? Do you not buy into that? Let me know. 541-630-4792. Did they make history? And will they make history, winning a national championship unbeaten and finally bringing a trophy home to Oregon? Let me know. 541-630-4792. I told you there were 2 points that were tied into history on the show tonight. One is what the Oregon ladies did, beating Team USA. The other is the Oregon football team. You've won the Pac-12. You've been to national championship games. But I don't think the nation respects Oregon. Historically, I think they see the toilet bowl. I think they see a team in the cellar. I think they see Eugene, Oregon, and they think this isn't a powerhouse. History tortures that Duck football program. And a great example tonight, Alabama loses. Penn State loses. Oklahoma, they hang on by a thread. Georgia, they're a one-loss team. They lost to a horrible South Carolina team. And the committee ignores all that. Because those are blue chips. Those are powerhouses. History is not on Oregon's side. They don't look kindly to the Ducks. Right now, college football playoff rankings out this hour. You know who number 1 is, LSU. Then Ohio State. Okay, I'm down with that. Then Clemson. But Georgia, number 4. Bama, number 5. They just lost. Then Oregon, 6. Then Utah, 7. I want to hear from you. Did the committee screw Oregon? Is the committee too focused on history? Do they put too much into reputation? Do they put too much into the prestige of a program? Whether or not you're a blue blood, a blue chip, whether or not you've won national titles before, are they putting too much weight on that and not enough weight on the games being played? Let me know. Is Oregon treated fairly? Let me know. 541-630-4792. Got a text from a fan right now, huge Duck fan, but I can't imagine the Oregon ladies going undefeated. Oregon State is also stacked. Corvallis will be tough. Boy, that's true. Those games are the bomb. Civil War football was going to be fun in 2 weeks, but if you look deeper, you look closer, fun might be a 2-score game or a 3-score game. That's what a close Civil War football game might be. That's what a fun Civil War football game might be. Civil War hoops, when those ladies battle, that's a one-possession game the whole way. Even when the Ducks are good. Last year, they tore through the Pac-12. They had a tough go in Corvallis. That's going to be a fun game. I can't wait for that game. I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. Let's talk about the history that the Oregon ladies made on Saturday. Let's talk about the history, I think, that haunts the Oregon football team. And let's talk about the history on the high school scene. Crater won a state playoff game. They do that a lot. They did it again. Ashland won a state playoff game. Same story. They are on the way back up, getting that prestige that they had for decades. And now North Medford wins. They got a home playoff game for the first time in forever. They had to do it without their best player, and they found a way to get it done. Overtime win, shootout win, 55-49. I was amazed by that game Friday night. I heard about it, then I watched the game film. I'm still blown away. I want to learn more about that. I want to talk to Jim Bosworth, North Medford assistant coach. He's going to break that game down. He's going to preview round 2 next on Southern Oregon Sports Talk.
Ask us all the time, what's the secret to Abby's success? Well, truth be told, it's not rocket science. It's just great, legendary pizza. So I guess the secret's out, and it has been for 55 years. Drop on by. Abby's is comfortable, relaxed, and the perfect place to hang out after a long day. Plus, you can use all the napkins you want. They're free. And thanks to you, we've made more legendary pizzas this year than ever before in our 55-year history. And to say thanks, we invite you to enjoy Abby's giant bacon cheddar pizza for a limited time with Canadian bacon, country bacon, and real shredded cheddar cheese piled edge to edge at a special price. So remember, there's always an Abby's nearby, 36 of them. We've been here for generations of families and helped them taste the good life, one slice at a time. And since we're not rocket scientists, we're happy to keep making your favorite pizzas. Abby's, a legendary pizza tradition.
Mahindra, the toughest tractor on earth. There is no bigger and no better choice to make than a Mahindra tractor. And the only place in Southern Oregon that sells Mahindra is Rogue Valley Farm Equipment, located at 6002 Crater Lake Avenue in Central Point. Rogue Valley Farm Equipment has been family owned for nearly 40 years and can help you with all your farm equipment repair needs. From diesel repair to new and used tractors and equipment, stop on by every Monday through Friday from 7 to 4 p.m. p.m. Come experience for yourself why Mahindra tractors outperform all other brands and is the toughest tractor on earth. Rogue Valley Farm Equipment. Give them a call at 541-826-8500 or visit them at 6002 Crater Lake Avenue. Open every Monday through Friday from 7 to 4 p.m. Rogue Valley Farm Equipment. Here for all your equipment needs. Lift more. Pull more. Mahindra Tractors.
The debate about sports specialization by high school athletes continues. Some argue that high school athletes who play one sport all year long have a better chance of landing a lucrative pro contract. But that's simply not true. In fact, 30 of the 32 first-round picks in last year's NFL draft played more than one sport in high school. Of the 32 players drafted, 22 also participated in high school track and field. 19 also played basketball. Some also played baseball and lacrosse. What's the path to success for high school athletes here in Oregon, no matter what their goals might be? Study hard. Always do your best. And if you can, play more than one sport in high school. This message presented by the Oregon School Activities Association and the Oregon Athletic Directors Association.
Stay up late with Amy Lawrence.
New Orleans is buzzing. Whether it's the Big Easy that you call it, the Crescent City, whether you go with NOLA, the city that hosts Mardi Gras, the home of Tulane, whatever it is, now it is Zion Zoo. And it was a zoo as he was introduced to Pelicans fans and media from all over the region.
11 at night, overnight on 96.1, 580 The Game.
Morning Mayhem with Taz and the Moose.
Aaron Murray, CBS Sports college football analyst.
You got involved in the AAF February 2020. We're going to see you playing quarterback in the XFL?
Oh, I just got married 3 months aago. And
congratulations.
Congrats. I got to get everything approved by the wife, and I don't know. She likes the thought of me getting my ass handed to me. So she likes me better doing radio and TV, safer up in the booth.
Weekday mornings from 3 to 6 on 96.1, 580 The Game. This is your home for the Super Bowl.
He turns, he dives, it is a touchdown! It is a touchdown!
KTMT 580 AM and K241CA 96.1 FM Ashland.
Flag.
I'm Jay Berman, the NFL. Well, there's some news. Clubs were informed Tuesday that a private workout will be held for free agent quarterback Colin Kaepernick on Saturday in Atlanta. The session will include on-field work and an interview. All teams are invited to attend, and video of both the workout and interview will be made available. Meanwhile, 2 days after he was benched for what Coach Bruce Arians deemed lack of hustle, the Buccaneers released starting quarterback Vernon Hargreaves. Veteran linebacker Preston Brown has been cut by the Bengals, and the league has flexed the Week 12 Packers-49ers game to Sunday night on NBC. All right, the top 4 college football playoff rankings. The second are in. LSU 1, Ohio State 2, Clemson 3, Georgia 4. Alabama currently on the outside looking in. They're number 5. All right, to the NBA we go. We'll start with the games in progress. Thunder and Pacers in Indianapolis. Late second quarter, Pacers lead at 50-37. In the second quarter, Sixers lead the Cavaliers 50-42. Also, Pistons and Heat in Miami. They're in the first quarter. Heat lead at 20-13. About to get underway, Knicks and Bulls in Chicago. College hoops, top-ranked Kentucky, believe it or not, trailing Evansville at the half. 34-30. Also in action, number 2, Duke. They're not trailing. They lead Central Arkansas at the half, 57-20. I'm Jay Berman.
This is Taz.
And I'm the Moose. Full reaction breakdown to the latest college football playoff rankings, Taz.
That's right, Moose. Join us tomorrow morning at 6 Eastern.
This is Southern Oregon's home for North Medford Black Tornado sports all year long. 96.1 FM, 580 AM, The Game.
He's Bill Ryder, and he's Ryder than you. Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1 580 The Game.
Hey everybody, Matt Bagley back with you. Southern Oregon Sports Talk presented by Medford BMW right here, 96.1 FM, 580 AM The Game, streaming online at thegame541.com. And we've got this local show every night from 4 to 6. It's not my favorite thing we do. My heart and soul has always been with our high school football on Friday nights, and I'm so proud to say we get another high school football game to cover this week. That's because our school, North Medford, we air their games every Friday night, won a thriller in the first round of the playoffs last Friday, 55-49 in overtime. I'm going to be up in Tualatin for round 2 Friday night, Black Tornado trying to move on, and to look back at that Friday game and then look ahead to this Friday's game, I've got a guest I've wanted to bring back on the show for a long time. He's Jim Bosworth, assistant coach for North Medford's football program, and somebody that knows awfully well what these kids did, how they did it, and what they can do now. Coach, let's start with that Friday win over Reynolds, 55-49 in OT. Have you ever been a part of a game like that?
No, that was a first for me. And it was a first for a lot of our kids. It was a first for a lot of our coaches. You know, Coach Turner's been around a while and had a great deal of success, but I think all of us were kind of in uncharted territory there. And even for us as a football team, I mean, we found ourselves in scenarios that I don't think if we would have ever thought that we would ever end up in a situation where we're going to throw the ball 47 times to win a football game. But that's where we found ourselves. But like I said, luckily we came out on the positive side of that one.
You mentioned your head coach, Steve Turner. I was blessed to cover him when he won a state title at 4A Cascade a couple years ago. And if you could go back in time and tell me that Steve Turner is going to coach a team that throws 47 times and scores 55 points, I wouldn't believe you.
Yeah, I'm telling you, we were right there. Nobody could really believe it when we saw the stats come out. But, you know, it was one of those situations where Reynolds came down, they played hard, and they gave us everything we wanted in the box there. I mean, they were super aggressive. They were blitzing really heavily. And we were having a heck of a time trying to find rushing lanes in there. And so, you know, basically our kids just had to pony up, and our O-line had to commit to the fact that we were going to have to throw to win. And those guys didn't stop bringing any pressure, but our guys really kind of just sucked it up and drew a line in the sand and you know, kind of refused to yield. And I tell you what, Coach Turner made it a point on Sunday to talk in our team meeting to say, you know, he gained a lot of respect for some of those interior offensive linemen who, you know, for 4 quarters basically took a beating and stood in there and just did what it takes to give Stoltz the extra second or so he needed to find the guys to make the plays that ended up scoring points for us.
Yeah, back and forth battle, and Reynolds ramped up the pressure, and North Medford able to beat it. Black Tornado get the win in overtime, and cause a lot of people here to celebrate and feel giddy after that one, 55-49. Moving on to round 2 of the state playoffs. I got Jim Bosworth on the phone line. He's an assistant coach for that North Medford team. Coach, 2 weeks ago, Black and Blue Bowl, I'm on the radio talking about the growth of this North Medford program. They win 3 games last year, 3 wins the year before that as well. What was the difference this year? Where did this team earn the position they're in now?
Well, I think, again, just like everything else, it's all a process. And last year, you know, our kids had to learn what it was like to be coached by a new staff, what it was like to practice the way that we expect to practice. And, you know, we didn't have a lot of the depth in our playbook because it was the first year, and we weren't real sure what, you know, guys, how they were going to adapt to what we were trying to do offensively and defensively. So I think that kind of translated into, you know, we were a pretty tough team last year, but, you know, when teams found a way to take away what we did, we didn't have a whole lot of other answers left there.
Right.
But, this year, I tell you what, our off-season was tremendous. Our kids worked their tails off in the weight room. We did a lot of off-season stuff with Coach Dykes, our offensive coordinator, and our quarterbacks and receivers to develop what is now, I would say, a pretty prolific passing game if you look at the numbers for Stoltz on the year. And then again, we have these kids bought in together all the time they spent in the spring, all the time in the summer. That Cascade football camp that we go to is a grinder. I mean, you figure out who you are as a football team there for sure. And I think that shows up. And our kids have an awful lot invested this year, maybe more than they have before or that we've had in years past. And so, just like Friday night, our kids had to kind of look at each other and decide, we're not going to be done tonight. We've put in too much work. So I think it's just a testament to our kids. We tell our kids all the time that, coach is coach, but the players have to play, and the players have to win, and it all starts with the players. And so, that's what it is. We got great kids, and our kids care an awful lot about winning and playing for each other, and it's a pretty unselfish atmosphere that we have because we do have a pretty prolific, balanced attack.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that line. Coach is coach, but the players have to play. My dad was a youth football coach in the Valley for a long time, and we always talk about that idea. You can draw up the perfect X's and O's, but your team has to execute.
Right. That's the way it comes down to it, and we tell our kids that. I mean, you probably hear it 2 or 3 times a week, but it's their game. We're going to give them the keys to the car, and Coach Dykes just told our kids last night when we were talking about some stuff that we were putting in for Tualatin that we can go as deep into the playbook as they're willing to learn.
Wow. Yeah, North Medford playing at Tualatin. That's on the south side of the Portland Metro Friday night. 6:45 pregame right here, 96.1, 580 The Game. Streaming online at thegame541.com. Yours truly on the call. Game kicks off at 7. Coach, I wanted to ask you this when I had you on last summer. I think this is a better time for it, though, when you talk about the buy-in of your players and the grind this offseason as they've rebuilt a very historic program, North Medford Black Tornado football. Did you grow up following North Medford football? Were you familiar with the history here?
Yeah, I'm a North Medford alum. I grew up as going to be a Black Tornado someday, and played here in high school. I actually played for Coach Turner when he was here before he left after my sophomore year in high school, and that's when Coach Beck came down and kind of made his entrance into the Southern Oregon high school football team. But yeah, I mean, I'm a North Medford guy forever. We've got Coach Stout, Curtis Stout, coaches our linebackers. He's a North Medford alum. He graduated the year after me. We got Ben Running, who was a really good quarterback and receiver for North Medford, and Johnny Ragaffa, also a North Medford alum. I mean, our staff is full of guys who knew what Black Tornado is supposed to look like.
Right.
And so that's kind of it's. I won't say it's easy, but I'll say it was a smoother transition to get our kids to do it the way that we know it's supposed to look like.
How close do you think you are to getting back to that brand of Black Tornado football?
Well, we don't. I mean, again, we don't. It's a standard that we'll never really reach. It's something it's a goal that we never keep. We never quit trying to be a better version of ourselves. I would say that if you looked at us right now, we're pretty dang close to what teams were doing consistently. And so now that's what it turns into: is can we turn in these kind of results, these kind of efforts, these kinds of buy-ins from our players year in and year out? And I think if you look at the success of our JV team was undefeated, our freshman team was undefeated. The eighth grade team at Hedrick was undefeated.
Wow.
I mean, we've got good players coming up. So if we can keep the ships pointed in the right direction, I think that we'll get back to getting some of the tradition, knocking some of the dust off of those trophies from when Black Tornado was something that everyone around the state kind of looked out for.
Yeah, that's the goal, trying to add to that trophy case. Ship pointed north this weekend as the Black Tornado drive up Interstate 5 facing Tualatin in the second round of the state playoffs. Coverage starting 6:45 p.m. Friday night right here on the Game, 96.1 FM, 580 AM. Coach, about this Tualatin team, how excited are you about this matchup?
Oh, we're excited. I mean, again, we're excited to be in the Sweet 16. There's a lot of teams that turn their stuff in either last Monday or this Monday, and we're happy to be one of the ones that are still going. Tualatin's a good team. They're always a good team. They're kind of one of those blue blood Oregon football teams that is always going to be good, and so we're going to have to play our best to beat them. But I think our kids are confident. Our kids are. We have a lot of self-belief in our team. We learned a lot about ourselves Friday night, but I think even before that, we felt like we could all year. We felt like we could play with anybody that lines up across from us. We had a tough loss up at Sheldon by 1, but kind of felt like we let that one get away.
Right.
Went up there to Aloha, came up short by 2 in a game that a couple things bounced one way or the other, and we come out on top in that one too. So the challenge that we pose to our kids is we already know we can go play with anybody in the state. This Friday we're going to try to prove that we can go win against any team in the state, including one of the quote-unquote good teams that are going to present a challenge. But, Tualatin has plenty of guys. Man, you watch them on film, they've got some dudes. If you don't play your best, they can take you to the woodshed. But I think teams would say that about us, that if you don't play us right, we could blow up too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I can just imagine they're circling a certain number, jersey number 2, on your film, trying to figure out how to stop Devin Brad. He was suspended last week, and you referenced this earlier of how difficult a challenge that was going to pose for you. How exciting is it to have that young man back in the fold?
Well, yeah, anytime you get a kid that unfortunately had to miss a game, those are tough lessons to learn, and I think us as a team, everybody kind of felt like maybe that was or wasn't a situation that was necessarily fair, but it was where we found ourselves. So Devin had to take a week off last week, and that was really hard for him as a competitor to be sitting on the sidelines watching his guys battle through a game that he certainly could have helped us in. But yesterday in practice, there was certainly a freshness to him, a twinkle in his eye, and he was glad to be playing for another week and getting a chance to go out there. So we're definitely excited to have him back, and I can tell you he's chomping at the bit to get out there. He's got a goal this week, but we're going to kind of keep that one in-house.
All right. I'm excited to watch it unfold. Friday night, 6:45 pregame right here, 96.1, 580 The Game, as North Medford in the final 16 tries to make it final 8 with a win in Tualatin in the second round of the state football playoffs. Coach, before I let you go, I do this every time I bring on a high school coach. I want to give you a chance to thank your boosters and your supporters and your fans here in the community. If you could shout out to somebody that's helped grow North Medford football and like we talked about earlier, getting Black Tornado football back to where it wants to be.
Yeah, I think again it starts with our parent group. Our parents are the ones who raise these kids to be in our care when they're playing football for us, and that has been one of the, we do a team dinner every Sunday night organized by our parents. They feed all of our kids. Our kids come in at 5 o'clock, and we have a film review meeting, the recap from Friday's game. And then we all eat together because we're really trying to promote that family atmosphere, and that, our deal is families eat together. So we have meals together every week, and that's something that, our parents organize all that. They organize all the food for our players when we go on the road. They organize all the, cardboard cutouts and all the things that happen for our players that make this experience for them something more than just something they do after school. Like, this is something that they're really bought into. And there's no way that we could do it the way we want it to be done without the support of our parents and our community. There's Matt, you've been around. There's businesses all over this community that love South, that love North, that love Medford athletics. So, to say there's one that really pumps up North Medford, no, I think that they all do. I think we're a function of the community support. But I'd say our backbone when it comes to support is definitely our parents of our kids for trusting us with their great kids that want to come out and be a part of something special, and then also, kind of helping us with the peripheral stuff that as coaches we want to focus on what happens between the lines, and the parents can help us make this a great experience off the field for our kids.
Awesome. Jim Bosworth thanking the parents of the players and everyone for coming out and supporting North Medford day in, day out. Thanks to that support, North Medford rebuilding and restoring the greatness of that football program. They go to Tualatin in the second round of the state playoffs Friday night. Hear the game right here, 96.1 FM, 580 AM. That's North Medford at Tualatin, 6:45 Friday night. Jim Bosworth's going to be on the sideline. He's on the phone line with me right now. Coach, I'm so thankful for your time, and you know where my allegiances lie. I'm a North grad. I'm a North fan. Good luck to you Friday night.
I appreciate that, and we appreciate all the support. Anybody that can, tune in and listen to us and just kind of cheer us on from home, we're going to need all the help we can get. But our kids are excited to go up there, and like I said, we're not going up there to compete. We're going up there to get a win.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Matt.
That was Jim Bosworth. He's an assistant coach under Steve Turner for the North Medford football team. Again, tune in Friday night, 6:45. And I'm going to hit that really hard this week because I think that's the biggest local story right now. Black Tornado football in the second round of the state football playoffs. Talking about that next. Talking Blazer basketball. Really got a real big second hour. Getting you ready for that Beaver game later tonight on the game. Let's talk college football. College football playoff. Where do the Ducks fit? Let's talk Beavs. Second season. They got to win. They got to get that bowl game. Got to get to 6. Can they get it done? We'll talk about all that and more. And talk NFL. I got a lot of thoughts after last night. I'll share them right here. 96.1, 580, The Game. This is Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW.
Well, it's Orley Stove and Spas we both recommend. Now I told you where, let us tell you why. You ought to stop and see our friends.
Fall has arrived, and forecasters say it looks like an extra cold and wet winter this year. Now's the time to get into Orley's and beat the winter rush. Come in and see the newest models of hybrid wood stoves. Check out the new Lopi Rockport's revolutionary patented Green Start ignition option, only for Lopi wood-burning stoves and inserts. Starting a fire in your wood stove can now be as simple as pushing a button. Come in and discover the warmth and charm of the new Lopi line. Looking for gas? Lopi and Fireplace Extraordinaire have you covered. Gas models that heat up to 3,000 square feet. Whether you need a freestanding wood, gas, or pellet stove, a fireplace, or an insert, stay warm and comfortable this winter without those high heating bills. Orleys has over 80 models of stoves, inserts, and fireplaces on display at the corner of Delta Waters and Crater Lake Highway. Stop in and save. Receive a free ton of pellets with the purchase of any new Lopi pellet stove. Offer ends November 30th.
My reason why is community.
My reason why is leadership.
My reason why is to inspire others.
Why do thousands of teenagers here in Oregon participate in high school sports and activities?
My reason why is friendship.
Their reasons are as diverse as the students themselves. But the one thing they all share is the opportunity to have fun and learn important life lessons. Lessons like supporting their community, learning how to be a leader, and building lifelong friendships.
My reason why is defying expectations.
Is there a grade school or middle school student in your family? Then encourage them to participate in a sport or activity when they go to high school.
My reason why is to make a change in the world.
This message presented by the NFHS and the Oregon School Activities Association.
There's only one Jim Rome.
That Niner defense, they get after the quarterback. They have not allowed a rushing TD all season, and they've got a lot of attitude, a lot of swagger, and they can put immense pressure on a QB with only their front four. What they have in that building is a ton of talent, a ton of speed, a ton of toughness, and a ton of confidence. And if you didn't know that about them before, now you do.
Weekdays, 9 a.m. to noon on 96.1, 580 The Game.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1, 580 The Game.
History is a big theme on the show tonight. Just had Jim Bosworth, North Medford assistant coach, talking about the history of Black Tornado football as they climb the ladder and regain a lot of lost reputation with a statement win, shootout in overtime despite their best player being out, 55-49. They move on to round 2. Very winnable playoff game for them coming up Friday night on The Game. and a chance for them to make more history. And we talk about history tonight. Talk about the history the Oregon women made against Team USA, beating the best assemblage of players on the planet, making history this weekend. I also got to talk about history being made in the NFL. How about what Lamar Jackson did? Seriously, the run he had against Cincinnati. You know the one. It's played everywhere. ESPN, played online, played on social media. You're going to see it on NFL Network for decades. You're going to see commercials made of it. He sprints down the middle of the field, jukes one defender, stiff arms another defender like he's Marshawn Lynch in his prime, and then does that spin move in the middle of the field, whipping the ball from one hash mark to the other. Unbelievable from Lamar Jackson. I love what Jim Harbaugh said after the play. He goes to his quarterback, and the reason I know he says this is because he was mic'd up. Jackson was mic'd up. They shared it on NFL Films. Harbaugh taps him on the shoulder and says, "Do you realize how many little kids are going to wear your jersey and grow up idolizing you?" That hit me. Lamar Jackson is historic. Lamar Jackson is going to be what Michael Vick wasn't, what Randall Cunningham couldn't be, what Warren Moon was prevented from being. Lamar Jackson is going to make history. And a generation of players are going to idolize him. That's history. You can write that down right now. I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. I think the players of today, the youth football players, the high school football players, the young people of today, and the people of tomorrow are going to idolize Lamar Jackson. I said earlier, Tim Brown was my guy. I wanted to be Touchdown Timmy. I wanted to be Mr. Raider. When you were growing up, who did you look up to? Who did you idolize? When you were playing football with your friends, who'd you try to be? Text me. Tell me your answer. 541-630-4792. That's 541-630-4792. Got to hit Oregon State tonight. Got to talk Ducks as well. Talking playoff. LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia. Those are your four. I don't have a problem with the first three. LSU deserves it. They just beat the best team in the country, and they beat them. They controlled that game all the way through. They beat Alabama. They beat Alabama in Bama. They got it done. They deserve that number one spot. Same for the Buckeyes. They're super talented. They've been blowing teams out. Number two, that's fair. Clemson, I've said all season, if the defending national champs don't lose, you have to pencil them in. You have to give them a shot to defend the crown. Where things get hairy to me is Georgia losing to a South Carolina team and Oregon losing to a much better Auburn team, and yet Georgia is ahead of Oregon in the standings. I don't even really have a problem with Bama being in between them at 5. You're not going to dock Bama that far. I said this last week. You can't dock Bama that far for losing to the new best team in the country, LSU. If you think LSU is really that good, you're not going to ding Bama for losing to them. But I have a problem with Georgia being ahead of Bama and Oregon. If you're really that good, you wouldn't have that one loss. If you're really that good, why do you lose to a South Carolina team? I think this next week is going to open eyes in college football. That 4 spot really is going to be cemented. If Georgia beats Auburn, then Georgia's earned it. If Georgia beats Auburn, Georgia can say we are better than Oregon. Georgia can say we are better than Alabama, and Georgia can say we deserve that 4 spot. Will they hold on to it? That's another question entirely, because you got the SEC championship. To me, this is the nightmare scenario for Duck fans. If Georgia beats Auburn, they hold on to that top 4. then no matter what happens in the Iron Bowl, Georgia's going to be ranked higher than Alabama heading into the SEC title game. No matter what happens, Georgia would be ahead of Oregon heading into conference championship weekend. And then, if LSU's number one and Georgia knocks them off the perch, you can't knock LSU out. You can't go from 1 to 5. That's not fair. The committee's not going to do that. Not when you've beaten Alabama, not when you've beaten Auburn, not when you've beaten Florida. As long as you don't get destroyed by Georgia in the SEC title game, you're going to the playoff, LSU, and Ohio State, and Clemson, as long as you take care of business in your conference. If Georgia wins the SEC title game, the Ducks have no shot. It's another 2 SEC playoff. I've said this all year. That is the nightmare scenario for the Ducks. You have to hope Auburn wins this week, so Georgia has 2 losses. Auburn has 2 losses. They're basically disqualified. You have to hope that Auburn beats Georgia and beats Bama. Same problem for Bama. You have to hope that Oregon wins out. Otherwise, the Ducks are out. 2 losses, you're not getting in. Not when Oklahoma's got 1 loss, they're behind you. Not when Utah's got 1 loss, they're behind you. You got to keep pace. You got to hope that thing happens. And if it doesn't, Duck fans, if Georgia beats Bama and then Georgia wins the SEC title, you're not going dancing. Rose Bowl, no playoff. And you got to get used to that now. I want to hear from you. Let's talk expectations for this team. Is it fair to criticize the Ducks if they don't make the playoff? Let's say they win out, but they get blocked out of the playoff by Georgia. 2 SEC teams crash the party. Clemson does their stuff. Ohio State wins out, and there's just no room. Ducks are 5 in a 4-team dance, and they go to the Rose Bowl. Is that a bad season? Is that a failed season? Is that a missed opportunity? Let me know. 541-630-4792. That's 541-630-4792. Talk about missed opportunities. Friday night, packed house in Corvallis. The nation is watching you, Oregon State. And the Beaver offense couldn't get it done. Was that a missed opportunity for Oregon State? Is that loss going to cost them a bowl game? I've got thoughts on that. I think this is the biggest 3-week stretch in Jonathan Smith's tenure, and I'll tell you why next on Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW on 96.1, 580, The Game.
Beat the holiday rush at Sportsman's Warehouse during the pre-Black Friday sale. For a limited time, take up to $100 off Traeger Wi-Fi or grills. Save $90 on the Smith & Wesson EZ kit and get a free Vortex red dot sight with purchase of a Springfield XDM. Whether it's hunting, shooting, fishing, or camping, our expert staff will help you find the perfect gift to make their next outdoor experience unforgettable. Save now during the Sportsman's Warehouse pre-Black Friday sale. Sportsman's Warehouse. Gear up for unforgettable.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food in our country than we know what to do with. Food at the grocery store and food in the vending machines, fast food, health food, and seafood. We've got so much food that anything people don't buy, we just throw out. Yet 17 million kids in America struggle with hunger. That ain't right. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Yeah, I made that up. It's kind of catchy. Hello, people. This isn't rocket science. We could solve hunger today. To start, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. That's a website. Duh. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
With Mike McCarthy nowhere near the conversation, Aaron Rodgers had to take a shot at him.
We're just a more connected team this year because of the leadership that we have.
Oh, God, Aaron. I mean, you're like the guy that gets divorced and runs to Facebook. Never been happier.
Colin Cowherd.
Weekdays at noon on 96.1, 580 The Game.
It only takes a minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it at doihaveprediabetes.org. But you're probably not going to, are you? Kids, work, listening to the radio. You're busy, which is great because busy people can't get prediabetes. Oh my, I read that wrong. They can. Should have worn my glasses. So visit doihaveprediabetes.org and take a short test because prediabetes can be reversed.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Pharrell pulls no punches.
I don't care what you say. If you have a bunch of old guys out there, 60, 70 years old, reffing NFL games, I mean, these guys are running behind the play, and they are missing stuff all day long. It got so bad for me watching the games that I was cussing so much, and I was so angry, and I was so evil and unholy and just absolutely losing my mind. Finally, I just stopped watching.
Weeknights at 7 on 96.1, 580 The Game.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1, 580 The Game.
Talking history tonight. How about this for history? Oregon men in the Moda Center, formerly the Rose Garden, and they got Memphis, a blue chip program, one of the best teams in the country, coming to the Northwest and playing hoops. That's over on News Media, 99.5 FM, 880 AM. Tip-off at 6. Joey Mack, my friend, on the call for that one. Talking playoff tonight, talking high school football, as I belch a little bit on the air because we've got all these Harry and David goodies coming into the office today. Somebody got like these mini cake things. I don't know what's in them. I don't know what they are. I just know they're addicting. I can't put them down. You ever have things like that? Things you just crave? You just can't stop eating them. That's one for me. Maybe you got ideas there. Maybe you have cravings like that. 541-630-4792. I told you that I wanted to talk about Oregon State because Friday night, you have a packed house in Corvallis, which, I'll be honest, I didn't expect. I thought Beaver fan would skip that night. High school football playoffs going on everywhere in the state. Friday game. You don't want to deal with traffic. Medford fan driving up to Corvallis. That's 3.5 hours. Then you factor in the tailgate. You got to take work off. Portland fan, you don't know hell until you've been on I-5 South at 5 o'clock on a Friday. You don't want to deal with that. I didn't think Beaver fan would show up, and they did. And they rocked. And the energy and the environment, that was difficult for Washington. And then you factor in the Beaver defense. They play the game of their life. And Jonathan Smith and that coaching staff are amped, throwing everything they have against the wall because they want to beat Chris Peterson. They want to send a statement to Washington, where Jonathan Smith used to coach. And none of it matters because the offense sputtered. I want to be depressed about that game and feel like this was the chance, this was the opportunity, and they blew it. I still feel really optimistic about Oregon State. The way I see it, that loss marks the end of the season. And that sounds sad, but now you got a second season. Arizona State comes in. I love Herm Edwards, but that team is up and down, and they're dealing with a lot of drama right now. They don't know who their quarterback is. Then you've got Washington State, who have been the butt of the conference this year. UCLA beat them. Oregon beat them and whooped them. I mean, close game, but they were physical. They were tough. They crushed them. Bone-crunching hits, turnovers, big plays in the crunch. I think Oregon State can do the same thing. I think those are your two wins to get to a bowl game and get to relevance in the Pac-12. To me, this is your second season. You win these next 2 weeks, the Civil War is icing on the cake. Now, let's say you lose to Wazoo. Beaver fans are not going to expect a win over Washington State. But you beat Arizona State, you lose to Wazoo. They could win the Civil War. That's a winnable game. Imagine this, Duck fans talking playoff, and Beaver fans have to listen to this for 3 months. Playoff, 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 playoff. Oregon's going to go to the playoff. Oregon's going to win the national title. Imagine how amazing it would be if Oregon State steals one in the Civil War this year. Spoils the party. Like a turd in the punch bowl. That would be incredible to me. That's riveting to me. Just as a neutral, I didn't go to Oregon, didn't go to Oregon State, and I just get to watch these fan bases go crazy at each other. I can't wait to see that. I'm not saying it'll happen. I think Oregon State doesn't even need that game. I think you win these next 2 weeks, you punch your ticket to a bowl game, and then it's smooth sailing. Who cares if you lose by 50 in the Civil War? That's just me. 541-630-4792. Do you still think Oregon State can reach a bowl game? Or was this their missed opportunity? Was this the window? 541-630-4792. I'm not that concerned with the offense blanking against UW. The way I see it, we knew this offense was good. We knew they were improved, but they're not consistent. Utah game, they didn't show up. Stanford game, first quarter, they weren't there. Cal game, they won, but they didn't win by much. That wasn't a shootout by any means. Oregon State's offense is better, but they're not consistent yet. They're not a week-to-week threat yet. And I think Washington exposed that. Now the question for Oregon State, second season, hey, you don't have to play USC, don't have to play Washington, don't have to play Cal, don't have to play Oregon yet, don't have to play Stanford. All the tough games are behind you. Arizona State, Wazoo. And if you can win those two games, you're going bowling. 541-630-4792. Beaver fan, do you believe in that? Do you buy that? Are you going to go bowling? 541-630-4792. Text me your thoughts. Tell me what you think. 20 minutes left. College football playoff, LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia. Those are your top four. I'm afraid that more than one team from the SEC gets in. And I understand why the committee does it. I've been a voter before. It's not the same thing, but it's close. It's as close as we get here in Oregon. Our Oregon State media polls for high school sports. And I understand the logic behind putting one conference over another. Jerry Allen believes the best high school football is on the south side of the state. And if Jerry Allen had a vote, that's who he'd vote in his top 10 every week. For me, there's conferences that I know are good, and I put a lot of weight on them. And there's conferences that I know are bad. And so when I see a team that racks up a bunch of points and picks up a bunch of wins, but I don't like who they beat, I'm not going to rank them that high. Right now, the committee thinks the Pac-12 is pretty weak. And maybe they got a point. Washington State had a game where they threw 9 passing touchdowns and lost. And USC lost to BYU. And Utah lost to USC. And Washington, the jewel of the Pac-12 North, they got a great coach, supposedly great recruiting, sending guys to the NFL every year, and they can't beat anybody. And Oregon State's second in the division. And Oregon's looking up like, who do we got to beat? Who do we got to play? Cupcakes. Pansies. The college football playoff looks at Oregon's schedule and says, I'm sorry, But you're in a weak conference. You haven't beat anybody. So I think 2 SEC teams are going to get in. If you're an Oregon fan and you don't want that, you need chaos. I said this last week. You need Auburn to beat Georgia. You need Auburn to beat Alabama. And then you need the committee to look past Auburn. I don't know how likely that is. I think that's the scariest of all these nightmares. If the committee has a choice between a, let's say, 4-seed Oregon with 1 loss, they beat Utah in the Pac-12 title game, and a 5-seed Auburn who miss out on their conference championship game because they lose to LSU, but they beat Bama and Georgia and Oregon, I'd take Auburn. I'd take Auburn. Tougher schedule. Better results. I'd take Auburn. I want to hear from you. 541-630-4792. Text me your thoughts. Tell me what you think. And it's not the be-all, end-all for Oregon, but it's close. If you don't make the playoff, you still go to the Rose Bowl, and you're going to slam Penn State, or, God forbid, Minnesota gets drilled in that game, or khaki Jim Harbaugh at Michigan goes into that game and gets trounced. Oregon's going to win the Rose Bowl. Oregon's going to have a trophy at the end of the year. But if you get to the playoff, you're nationally televised. There's no competition in that time slot. Nobody's falling asleep like they are on New Year's Day, kind of napping a hangover. College football playoff, you're on everyone's attention span for a month. And you're everyone's conversation on sports radio and TV for weeks. And then you get in the game and everyone watches, and kids all over the country get to see your program. If Oregon makes the college football playoff, that can be like fuel to a forest. It can just light everything of the trajectory of the Oregon program and the acceleration of what Mario Cristobal was building. If you get the 4 seed, even if you get drilled in whatever comes next, you get the 4 seed and LSU destroys you. Justin Herbert throws 5 picks and you get shut out. You're still on national TV. You're still the talk of the country for a month. The best thing that can happen to this program is the playoff. The difference between winning a national title next year or competing for the shot at a national title in the next decade leans on the playoff. This whole thing could accelerate if they reach the playoff. I really believe that. 541-630-4792. Do you believe that? Let me know. 541-630-4792. Wrapping up hour 1 next, looking at college hoops, looking at high school football, looking at the NBA. I was gleaning the standings this week. We're 10 games in, and I got a question for basketball fans out there. We know the Blazers are bad, but is another team good? Another stunner, aside from the Blazers being bad? That's next on Southern Oregon Sports Talk, presented by Medford BMW on 96.1 580. The Game.
SouthernOregonHelpWanted.com presents the world's worst boss, the one who posts jobs on huge national job sites, looking for anyone with a pulse. We'll just call him Dave.
Officer, thank goodness you're here.
You said it was an emergency.
And it is. We have some positions in senior management that need to be filled pronto.
Not this again.
I'm telling you, our benefits are criminal, and you can't stay on the force forever.
All right, boys, roll out.
Wait!
Hey, where's the fire?
I'm so glad you're here.
Don't be a Dave. Find your perfect local employee at SouthernOregonHelpWanted.com. Local jobs that work. SouthernOregonHelpWanted.com presents the world's worst boss, the one who posts jobs on huge national job sites, looking for anyone with a pulse. We'll just call him Dave.
Dave, did you forward me this email from Svetlana?
Yes.
You want me to interview her for a job?
Well, it says she's looking to get down to business.
It also says she likes gentle bear cub man who knows what he likes.
I'm gentle.
Dave, this is a Ukrainian dating site.
Corporate said we should hire more diverse candidates.
Don't be a Dave. Find your perfect local employee at SouthernOregonHelpWanted.com. Local jobs that work.
People ask ask us all the time, what's the secret to Abby's success? Well, truth be told, it's not rocket science. It's just great, legendary pizza. So I guess the secret's out, and it has been for 55 years. Drop on by. Abby's is comfortable, relaxed, and the perfect place to hang out after a long day. Plus, you can use all the napkins you want. They're free. And thanks to you, we've made more legendary pizzas this year than ever before in our 55-year history. And to say thanks, we invite you to enjoy Abby's giant bacon cheddar pizza for a limited time with Canadian bacon, country bacon, and real shredded cheddar cheese piled edge to edge at a special price. So remember, there's always an Abby's nearby, 36 of them. We've been here for generations of families and helped them taste the good life, one slice at a time. And since we're not rocket scientists, we're happy to keep making your favorite pizzas. Abby's, a legendary pizza tradition.
Do you have knee pain, an ankle injury, or chronic back pain? At the BioSkin store in downtown Medford, we carry a wide assortment of braces and other quality products for knee pain, back pain, foot and ankle injuries, and many other conditions. In Southern Oregon, we're lucky to be able to be active outside year-round, so don't miss out on doing what you love because of an injury or joint pain. The right brace will help you enjoy all your favorite activities. At BioSkin, all of our braces are made from breathable, lightweight, and hypoallergenic materials to keep you comfortable no matter what you're doing. We have braces designed specifically for common problems including ankle sprains, meniscus damage, ligament tears, osteoarthritis, tendinitis, plantar fasciitis, and more. So if you're living with pain or an injury, even if you've tried another brace already, come visit the BioSkin store so we can help you find a solution. Open Monday through Saturday at 135 West Main in Medford. For more information, visit bioskin.com or call 541-203-9231. Again, that's 541-203-9231.
Southern Oregon Sports Talk with Matt Bagley. Talking local sports. Weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. on 96.1 580 The Game.
Wrapping up the show, 541-630-4792. I want your thoughts on the playoff. LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia. Those are your four. Ducks, number 6, behind Bama. Let me know what you think. 541-630-4792. I want your thoughts on Oregon State. Second season starts Saturday. Arizona State, beat them. Wazoo, beat them, and you punch your ticket to a bowl game. You don't have to worry about the Civil War. Though I know you will. I know you'll think about that. 541-630-4792. Is a bowl game still in reach? Do you believe Oregon State gets a bowl game? 541-630-4792. I believe a lot of things about college football because we're about, 3/4 of the way there? Done with the year? Seen enough of these teams to really gauge. I haven't seen enough for the NBA. Only 10 games in. I haven't seen enough to freak out that much about the Blazers being awful because they've been terrible. Hassan Whiteside doesn't know how to play defense. It's a mess. It's bad. It's about as bad as everybody tells you. But I did notice one thing. Looking at the standings, Houston only has 3 losses. They're 7-3 right now. Weren't the Rockets supposed to be the worst team in basketball this year? Harden and Westbrook, they weren't going to work together. D'Antoni is a terrible manager. Wasn't that supposed to be just a tire fire this year? I feel like you have to redefine everything you know about basketball because we thought Russell Westbrook couldn't fit in and that he was worse than what the Blazers had with Dame and CJ. I don't buy it anymore. Rockets are 7-3. Rockets are looking great through their first stretch of the year. That's a good team. They've played a tougher schedule than Portland. They got more wins to show for it. The Rockets are good this year. I wonder what that means for basketball, what that means for James Harden and his legacy and for his future, and what they can do, what they can contribute. Just keep an eye on that team. They don't have the big names like LeBron, and they don't have Anthony Davis banging down low. They don't have Kawhi as a defensive stopper, but they look better. They just look better. 541-630-4792. Tell me what you think about basketball so far, NBA season so far. Blazer fan, what's the biggest disappointment for you? I'm going to ask that question to Ryan Buchanan tomorrow. Ryan is going to join me. We're going to talk hoops like we always do every week with him. That's Ryan Buchanan from Blazers Edge right here tomorrow. The biggest disappointment for you? For me, it's how they use Hassan Whiteside. Or maybe how he fits into what they want him to do. Like, I just don't see effort from Whiteside right now. He looks lost. They need him if they want to win this year. What else do they need? Let me know. 541-630-4792. That's a big takeaway from the NBA so far, is just how good the Rockets are, how lousy Portland is defensively. Big takeaway from the NFL this weekend was a game that broke my heart because it broke my wallet. Because I had a 5-team teaser, Cardinals covered, Ravens covered. Oh, boy, did they. Panthers covered. Seahawks covered. But the Rams blew it. I feel like the big takeaway this week, the Rams got figured out. I got to ask, is Sean McVay really good? Everyone calls him the boy genius, and he's this prodigy, coming up with all these great plays and schemes and making the most out of that offense. They looked awful. It reminds me of every couple of years there's a fad in the NFL. Chip Kelly running the no-huddle with Philadelphia. That was a fad. I remember games where they would throw seven touchdowns. Games where you couldn't stop that offense. They'd score 50 points. Teams figured it out. And Chip got fired, and Chip left the NFL. Jim Harbaugh, same deal. At one point, Jim Harbaugh was hailed as a genius, and Colin Kaepernick was supposed to be the greatest quarterback who could revolutionize the game of football. And then they lose the Super Bowl. They lose the next NFC title game, and teams figured him out. And Jim Harbaugh's out of the league, and Colin Kaepernick's out of the league. Or let's go old school. Look at my Raiders, 0-2, best offense in football. Tearing it up, throwing the ball everywhere. And then Tampa Bay lays out the blueprint to beat them in the Super Bowl. They literally know what plays the Raiders are running. They know what audibles the Raiders are calling, and they destroy that offense on national TV. And the Raiders win 4 games the next year. And then 4 games the next year. They were done. I don't know if Sean McVay is really a great coach or if Sean McVay was just a fad. If it was just a trend. And then the league caught up. That's my fear for Sean McVay and the Rams. I don't trust that team at all in the second half of the year. I wonder what you think. 541-630-4792. Wrapping up the show. Share your thoughts. Are the Rams done? Or is Sean McVay going to carry them in the second half? Let me know. Wrapping up the show. Oregon State basketball tonight. Pregame, 7:30, right here on the game. Tip at 8. Ducks are going on at the start of the hour. Tip on News Media 99.5 and 880. And I'll be back 2 hours starting at 4 right here.